Veskerma agus falcha gan lesson show. Good afternoon, welcome to this lesson. Today, we're going to look at comparing things, but in the past. It's a little different from what we saw in the previous video, using nas, right, to compare things now. So let's take a look. All right, so we still have blasta here. We have some common high-frequency describing words. Let's see. So with blasta, the cake was tastier. When you're comparing things, you don't always have to compare it to something specific. You can say the cake was tastier, the jokes were funnier, the film was better, but you don't always need to say better than something. You don't always need to put it in comparison to something. You can just say it was better. That's what we'll do here. Va hik, va hik. So the cake was, right? Was. We're in the past, so we have va here. Va hik. Na bu vlasta. Va hik. Na bu vlasta. There we go. So our nas has become nabu. We're not talking about Star Wars here, I'm afraid. Nabu vlasta. And then there's that H, if you can add it. Not always, but most of the time you can. Nabu vlasta. Nas blasta. Nabu vlasta. Little different. The key here is that bu tells you it's in the past. So bu you can think of as being like va. Bu is like va, you know, both in the past. All right, va ahik na bu vlasta. Gleva. The cake was tastier. So let's see here, more delicious. Taste. Nabu vlasta, tastier in the past. The mountains were more beautiful. Va nabjaunten we do the same thing as up here. Na bu vria. Va nabjaunten. Windy. Va nabjaunten na bu vria. More beautiful. Nabuvria. More beautiful. All right. So remember, there are two patterns here when comparing things. In one pattern, your comparing word doesn't change hardly at all. Doesn't change hardly at all. The second kind, it changes and it looks completely different. Again, just learn these as you go. If this feels a bit awkward or not totally clear to you, that's fine. Just rewatch the video. You know, maybe wait a day, let it kind of sink in, rewatch the video, maybe it'll make more sense. This takes some time for it to become natural, but it will, over time. The main thing is that you understand nabuvria means more beautiful in the past. And in the previous video, nasbria means more beautiful right now or in the future. Gleva. All right, let's see here. The house was bigger. Va ante, or ante, depending on your dialect. Oh, snook. Van tay. Van tay na bu. Remember, mode is one of these words that changes completely when it's bigger. Na bu voa. So there that H comes in here again. Na bu voa. Van tay, na bu voa. Oh, va. Van tay, na bu voa. Va. Oh, va. We have our va here, was. All right, bake. Remember, bake changes here too. Va. Thinking of a tiny dog just now. Va. Va. Anku. No, anku. Again, depending on your dialect. The dog was van ku, and then smaller. Na, bu, luga. The dog was smaller. Nan kacht. Gleva. Van ku, nabu luga, nan kacht. The dog was smaller than the cat. It could happen. I've seen some pretty tiny dogs and some pretty big cats, especially these Maine Coon cats, like where I'm from. They're big cats. You know, Norwegian forest cats as well. They're big things. Okay, so just to point out here, you don't always need to compare something to something specific to use these. So the house was bigger. You don't always need to say what it was bigger than. You don't need to compare it to something specific. You can just say it was bigger. All right, and then better. Say you went to a restaurant, a new restaurant, tried something you've never had before. That was a house specialty, and it was better than you thought or than you expected. It's better than you expected. Va ambir. Va ambir. Va ambir. Na biar. Na biar. So na biar, that's better. Va ambieg na biar. Na va min dul. Na, then, I was better than I was expecting. Va ambir na biar na va mi ndul. Na biar na va mi ndul. Oh, va. So, present tense, remember it's nashar. And now, because of the bu here, the U is actually gone. Nabyar. This will happen sometimes. The U will be gone. Nabyar. This might look a little funny to say. How on earth did you pronounce that? You might be wondering. Well, a little tip. When you have an FH that's at the beginning of a word, it's going to just be silent. you know. It's going to extend this previous sound. Nabiar. Nabiar. FH is silent because it's between the sound of B and R. So when you have an FH at the beginning of a word, if there's something else before it, it's going to take on that sound. Or you can think of it as the FH just is silent. So the food was better than I was expecting. Va am bieg na biar, na va mi en dul. Nice, just like that. Na biar, right? Van ku na bu luga nan kacht. The dog was smaller than the cat. Nabu, right? Nabu says it's in the past. Van te nabu voa. The house was bigger. Van nabiaunten nabu vria. The mountains were more beautiful. Van nabiaunten nabu vria. Va acheik nabu vlasta. The cake was tastier. So this is how you compare things using these words, but also showing the pattern here for other ways, other words that you can use to compare things too. Remember, this is in the past, and we can tell that because we're using bu here, and va. We're using va here. Va is a good indicator. Also, this can be used for talking about the conditional, or you could think of like hypothetical things. So for example, this will come up sometimes in Gaelic, not nearly as often as talk about things in the past or the present or the future. If you're just thinking like, oh, a cup of coffee would be better than a cup of tea right now. It would be better. You would use these forms too. If you're thinking about a holiday, oh, a holiday is someplace warm. You know, a vacation in a nice warm place would be better. Would be. You'd use nabiar. You'd use these forms as well. So it's for conditional things, that's the technical name here, for hypothetical things or things that you did regularly in the past. These are what you'll use. And also just for straight up past things as well. Okay. Gleva.